Today I'm going to be sharing an incredibly difficult subject for me to bring up. But it has to be talked about. It definitely has to be unpacked. So I'm going to start it off with the beginning of this. So around September, I was talking to a guy online on Twitter. We had planned to hook up. September was just a really rough month for me. Once I didn't get my Pat McGrath Supreme lipstick, things kind of just went downhill from there. A lot of disappointing stuff happened. A lot of stuff went sideways or just went unexpectedly. So I spoke to this guy and we were gonna hook up and we were gonna get a motel and it was gonna be like a mini vacation for me. I had just recently broken up with this guy I was casually dating. It ended pretty poorly. I blocked him. So, we started chatting, we made plans for a motel. We asked each other about each other's status. I had been tested earlier that year and I had been negative for any STDs, all HIV. And the guy that I broke up with and everybody that I had been with up until that point was either undetectable or they were HIV negative, STD negative. And he said he was HIV and STD negative, and he even told me that he was on PrEP. He told me he got tested August of 2020. I didn't actually see the papers, I just took his word for it.
You're a dummy, bitch. You will never know shit.
So the day finally arrives, September 25th. It was a Thursday. I go to 174th Street on the 2 and 5 line. Something that day was just saying, it's not gonna work out, boo. Something that day was just saying, today is not your day to do this. Because every motel in the area was booked. Every motel, every hotel was booked that day. There was nothing was available, nothing. And I had called up even places in Manhattan and I was just like, what's going on? Why can't I find nothing? It's a Thursday afternoon in the Bronx in September during COVID. What could possibly be going on? So after walking around the neighborhood for some time and talking to more motels, talking to management, I finally managed to get a place. It was, I believe, $90 for one overnight stay.
Bitch, are you dumb?
And
Pardon me? Are you dumb?
I felt ripped off, but he said he was gonna give me half of the money for it. So
Stupid.
I booked it where, I'm sitting there waiting for him. He arrived to the hotel and at first I didn't piece this together until afterwards. But to me, nothing was wrong. But I realized once I saw him, he looked sickly. He had shaven his head. He had a large curly fro, but he had shaven it off and it was an uneven shave. And he just looked sickly. But I didn't really think much of it because he told me he had been going through some things and that he wanted some change and he just wanted to click the reset button. I was like, okay, you know what? We've been there, done that. I'm one of the girls. I frequently bleach, dye, and cut my hair all the time. Hello, when you got a mental breakdown, a tub of bleach is your best friend. So I think it was 20 minutes max of sex. It was good, but it was short. It was 20 minutes only, really, at most, maybe 15, honestly. Once he came, it got really weird, really awkward. Because even though we had agreed to use condoms, when he got there, he was in charge of getting the condoms in the lube, and he told me, oh, I brought condoms, but I didn't bring any lube. So that's when I kind of got really ticked off, because I'm just wondering, what do we do now? And after some time, he finally convinced me to just let's have sex without a condom. We'll use spit as lube, because if I use a condom with no lube, it's gonna hurt for the both of us and it's not gonna feel good. And I said yes, because I trusted him. For what reason? I don't know. Maybe because I'm broken. I don't know. We was living on the wild side. He told me he was on PrEP, so I thought nothing of it. I'm like, okay, I'm not on PrEP, but like, I'll be safe anyways. But once he came, he made sure that he didn't come inside of me, and he made sure like that it didn't end up like anywhere inside of me. And he kind of like froze for a minute after that, and then things got like really, really quiet. Really quiet. And then he gets up and he starts talking about wanting to smoke weed, and he realized that the fire detector in that room was broken and we could smoke, and we have like a little chill stash. And he just goes on and on about how he lives nearby and he left his weed and he regrets leaving it and he wants to smoke and he didn't know if I smoked. And like just going on, and then eventually he was like, okay, I live nearby, I'm gonna go get the weed, we're gonna go smoke, we're gonna eat, we're gonna chill. And he leaves. 10 minutes pass by. I'm like, 30 minutes pass by. I text him, hey, you said you were like 10 minutes away from your house, where you at? An hour and a half passed by, no response. He blocks me on Twitter. At this point, I like kind of panic and I like freak out because I thought something happened to him, like he got jumped or I don't know. I was worried about him, so I hit up his phone number. I'm like, yo, where you at? And I like I spam call and text him. No response for the rest of that night. He just ghosted me, and I kind of just sat there thinking, well. What did I do wrong? You know, we had sex, it was enjoyable, it was fun. What did I do wrong? Why did he ghost me? Did I say something? Was I weird? Did he just, I don't know. I blamed it on myself for that moment, and then I was just angry for the rest of the night. So I wake up the next morning, and in the back of my head, something was telling me to take a PEP. But I don't know, I was just so angry and so confused. I didn't know any better. So I didn't think much of it. And I kind of just forgot about it. And, you know, and then about like two weeks later, I get really, really, really sick. The sickest I've ever been in my life. And I have never experienced pain to the extent that I did, but for an entire week straight, it was fevers, fever dreams, diarrhea, vomiting, nausea, light sensitivity, muscle aches, headaches. It was overwhelming. There was a point in time where I felt like I was going to split in two from the overwhelming. All my senses were just so overwhelmed, and I was so dehydrated, and it was just intense. It was really, really intense. And that whole week, it's just fevers of 104 that won't go away, and these awful, awful dreams. I couldn't eat, I couldn't really sleep, because the little I did sleep, I would wake up in a cold sweat. So I go to the doctors, I go to urgent care around my house. None of the doctors know what's wrong with me. Everybody thinks it's COVID. I had just gotten my flu shot, so we're thinking maybe it's an adverse reaction to the flu shot. On my third or fourth visit back to the urgent care, I have this doctor. She was an Asian lady. Once she ruled out strep, flu, and COVID, she kind of just looked at me and she asked me, have you been sexually active? And I'm just like, yeah. And she kind of you know when you can see people's like faces behind the mask, but you can only tell through the eyes because the eyes are the windows of the soul. But I could just tell she kind of had a really serious face, and she said it to me in this real somber, quiet tone. Well, maybe we should just rule out HIV. And then I don't know if it was a neuron just sending a message on some Jimmy Neutron-ish, but instantly it connected. I was like, in the back of my mind, I knew it. I was like, it was like as if this deep, deep, deep subconscious thought that was buried just popped out and said, that's what you have. And in my body, I had known something was wrong. And then I go to my regular doctor. We do full blood work. We do urine analysis. We do all that. So it was a Monday. It was a Monday, October 12th. October 12th. I had woken up to 4 missed calls, and it was the middle of a call. It was like maybe 10 o'clock in the morning. My doctor calls me, and he says hello. And at this point, I don't know who's talking to me, but like it clicks that this is important news. I'm still groggy, and all I say is, yes, this is him. He asked me, are you alone? Yes, I'm alone. Which was weird because it was a Monday at 11 o'clock. There's normally so many people in my house, but it just happened to be empty. And I'll never forget how he said it. He apologized. He said, I'm sorry, I've never had to say this to anyone before. I don't know how to say this. But your test results came back, the HIV test came back positive. And I kind of just looked at my phone. It was if that 1 second, that one moment had lasted a lifetime. And it was as if a list of options of what to say or do came before me. And I just picked the one that I felt was right. I didn't cry, I didn't scream, I was just shocked. And then that moment was over. And then I asked him, am I gonna die from this? How much time do I have left? Can I get on medication? And, he answered all those questions. He's just like, well, I don't know. I've never treated a patient with HIV before. There's a specialist clinic in connection with Montefiore that can get you the help that you need. They specialize in adolescent care for LGBTQ youth. And I referred you to them. They're going to take care of you today. You're going to see them today. Here's their address. And he wished me the best. Maybe it was fate that I was on my own in that apartment that day. I don't know. But I didn't cry at all. I didn't say anything to anyone. I just got ready. I put my cutest sweater on. And I got my big purse. And I just headed to the doctor's. This nurse greets me, and he introduces me to all of the staff inside of the clinic. And, they take my blood to run another test on me. This one was the equivalency test. So the equivalency test came back negative. So at this point, they were saying, well, with recent infections, this can happen. It can come out as a false positive, or it can come out as negative because for whatever reason, it just comes out that way. They said that, I don't know, it didn't give me a glimmer of hope. I took it indifferently. I just thought, well, I'm not going to get my hopes up that it's a false positive, because if it comes up positive, it's going to crush me. And I don't know. I'm just going to say that my whole life, for most of what I can remember, I have struggled with depression. I've struggled with suicidal thoughts, thoughts of self-harm, and it has always been really difficult. And for some reason, when I got this news, it was kind of like those clouds parted away. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I don't know, that will to live, to so desperately live, it just sparked in me. And I said, no, I refuse. I have to live. I need time. I need time to do what I want to do and fulfill whatever purpose in life that I was meant to fulfill. And he just kept saying, don't worry, Gabe, you're gonna have time. We're gonna get you on medication right away. We're gonna test you for medications against like which ones will be more effective. So I leave the clinic that Monday. I had met everybody. I called my aunt. She was the first person I called. And I told her basically the rundown of it. I didn't tell her about the guy, because I wasn't thinking about that. So, she was just saying, we'll get through this together. Don't worry about it. I know people who have it, who live great lives. They live fabulous lives. They get on the medication and they're fine. And then I called my friend, and he felt sorry for me, and he was a nurse, so he was like, don't worry, Gabe, science is on your side, and hopefully it's a false positive. And I was just like, yeah, my aunt told me that her brother had also gone through like a false positive before, but I don't know, I can't keep my hopes up for that, because I don't want to do that to myself. The viral load test came back. The doctor came in and I saw it on her face. I was just like, yeah, the viral load test came back. And the viral load count came back with such a high number. It was well over 200,000 in my bloodstream. And they were saying, yeah, that's pretty high. That happens with recent infections. You're going to have a high count of it. They started filling out insurance info for me so that I can get whatever medication I need for free from the state of New York. And at that moment, all I could think about was my ex and if I exposed him, and it was just a million things running through my mind. I was thinking about, well, what happens to my social life? What happens to my dating life? How do I handle this? And really, my first step was reaching out to everybody. I reached out to some people through anonymous texting services, and other people, like the guy that I was dating, I reached out to them personally. And to my surprise, everybody that I had sex with, the 3 or 4 people, they were negative. They were negative. They got tested again, and they were still negative. And yeah, the only guy that I didn't speak to was the one who ghosted me at the hotel. But the health department reached out to him, and I reached out, like I texted his number because he never blocked me on it. I tried to forget about it for a while, and then I get on Biktarvy, and the Biktarvy works amazingly. I don't have any side effects from it. 3 weeks into me taking Biktarvy, my viral load was reduced to near 0, and I was basically undetectable at that point. And I thought everything was gonna be fine. Everything was gonna be fine and dandy. And then December hits, and then I have to get my appendix removed. And it's like, damn, can a bitch catch a break? Like,
the fuck? Can I live? Can I live? Can I fucking live?
is that too much to ask for? I have my appendix removed. The surgeon team that did it, they basically told me, we think what it was the STDs plus the getting on Biktarvy,
It couldn't take it. It's down.
all these things at once, because he didn't just give me HIV. He gave me chlamydia and gonorrhea. He gave me chlamydia orally and anally. And he gave me gonorrhea anally. Up until that point, I had never had any STDs. I had never gone to the clinic to get treatment for that. But I don't know. Something this year was off because I wasn't the only person to get STDs that I knew of. It was just a year of first. A year of first. I don't know. I can laugh about it now, I guess, because hindsight is always 2020. No pun intended. And recently, I see his profile on Grindr, and I see he's claiming that his status is negative. So I confront him and I ask him, how can you claim that your status is negative if I basically know for sure that you gave me stuff? And he's like, that's not true. I've never been told by anyone that I have anything. I've never been exposed to it. I've never gotten treatment for any of that. And I ask him, well, do you have any valid test results from this year? And he tells me no. He only has valid test results dating back to last year. And then I get mad because at this point I start gaslighting and questioning myself, thinking, well, did I get it from someone else? Was it not him? What if I'm wrong about this? And then I snap back to reality because I'm like, no, there's no freaking way. And then I'm just like, so then that's when I find his Twitter and I see he's still having raw sex with people, despite having been informed that, yo, you were exposed to STDs and HIV. At least get treatment, because you for sure have at least 1 or 2 STDs. At least. You have to. And it was just... he was just convinced that he didn't have it. So then I reached out to a friend that I knew who knew him. And I found out even more information about this guy. And I found out that he's down low. It was never publicly known that he was also dating men. Or not dating men, but into men sexually. He was facing like suicidal thoughts around that time. And he had mysteriously disappeared from social media around that time. And stopped posting for a while. And stopped contacting people. So go figure. What are the odds of that, huh? And I text the number that I had from him, and when I texted, he had changed his number. So the person that I was in contact with, first and foremost, he sent me a picture of himself. There's a black guy with a gun, and he told me that a lot of people had been hitting that number up because there were men and women looking for him. NYPD was reaching out to him. And the State Department was looking for him, and just a whole bunch of people were texting and looking for him. And I was like, oh. So I was just finding out so much new information all at once. And I'm just like, there's a reason why I almost basically 100% know that it's you, because look at the trail that you're leaving behind. Who has sex like that, then immediately leaves so suspiciously like that, ghosts the person, never keeps in contact with them, and then all of a sudden all this stuff comes out. Like, I'm just gonna say I accept my responsibility in this because I knew better and I didn't do better. And I had actually ironically had conversations with my aunts about this, about having safe sex, because the statistics for people like me, for gay minorities, especially in the city, they're not in our favor. I didn't use a condom. That was my mistake. It's not a mistake I'll be doing again. I don't want to hear about my siblings in the community of my age getting this, because it's not a death sentence, but it sure as hell ain't easy. All right, there's still a stigma to this, and stuff gets very real sometimes. Okay, there are people that look at you differently for having it, and even though everyone that I've disclosed to has never made me feel dirty or insecure about it, and they have always supported me and have been very kind and gentle about it, it has not been easy. I know people do not have it as lucky as me. So with that being said, I feel like we have to have an important conversation about not just promoting safe sex, but practicing safe sex, and to the extent that we have condoms, we have lube, and if you don't have it, ask for it. There's tons of places to get it for free. Know your status. This is so important. Knowing your status is so important. Get tested frequently. Always ask for proof from your partner. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. People lie all the time for reasons I don't know what. But we have to look out for each other. We have to protect each other. We are a community, first and foremost. And this is just one of the ways. We have to get on PrEP. And we have to know and understand that just because you're on PrEP does not mean that you can just have raw sex anywhere. Still use a condom. Still protect yourself. Know what undetectable equals untransmittable means. And we have to work on destigmatizing it, because, I mean, look at me. I look good. You know, nobody can... I don't look sick. I don't look any different. For the most part, I think I'm gorgeous. A lot of people still say I am. So let's work on destigmatizing it. HIV does not look like any singular person or thing. And I'm gonna do a second part to this with more details about my journey through disclosing and what the medication did to me, and just answering any questions that people might have about either the situation or just in general. What I will say is it's been a journey, and even though I wanted to share my story sooner and help people, I couldn't find the words, and it was just really hard. I was still scared. Even though I live with it openly, I tell people, I disclose, yeah, but it's still such an uncomfortable conversation, and I'm always so worried about further stigmatizing it. But I realize I cannot keep living in this fear. I have already worked so hard to become the person that I am now, and I have to keep going. The point of this video isn't to expose anybody. It's to tell my story and to say, I want my story to be one of the last. And yeah, bye guys.